Amrita Naandopanishad belongs to the Krishna Yajurveda, and the traditional Shanti Path or the prayer before the study of the Upanishad is the well-known mantra Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Amrita Naandopanishad talks about purity, Shuddha, Swachha, Pavitrata. Many times we use this word, pure mind, pure emotions, pure heart, pure intentions. Amrita Nada Upanishad once for all settles, defines what is purity, or in the language, in the world of the yoga, what do we refer, what do we say, what do we mean when we say purity? The Upanishad also talks about Shravana, Manana, Nidhi and Dhyasa. In fact, the Upanishad opens up with Shravanat Upayaha, the techniques, the methods, Shravana and others. Amrita Nada Upanishad has 38 powerful mantras explaining the various techniques for the practice of yoga. And the first mantra itself begins with the Shravanam. Shastranyadhitya medhavi abhyasya cha punah punah paramam brahma vijnaya ulkavattanyathos srujet. Shastranyadhitya medhavi abhyasya cha punah punah. By repeatedly studying and understanding the Shastra, the texts and the techniques, one should keep on meditating again and again on the import, the meaning, the purpose of the text. Just reading, going through, just studying, it has no meaning unless one contemplates, meditates, understands, and puts into practice. The Shastra Vakyam is brought into the Anushtana level. So it is not a mere learning or an intellectual jugglery. What is read, what is studied, what is understood, what is to be understood, and that what is understood, what is to be understood, what was understood, is to be brought into practice. This is the importance of Shravanam and Shastra Shravanam. Not just keep on repeating and listening. That may be useful for focusing of the mind, but it doesn't serve any other purpose. If what is studied and heard, Shastra Vakyam, is not brought into the practice. And then the Upanishad goes into the Pranava Upasana, Pranavopasana, Omkar Rathamarudhya, Vishnum Kritvatha Sarathim. Beautifully, the Upanishad is wonderfully explains the sadhaka. An imagery has been created, a method has been created, a technique has been handed over, a methodology was proposed, is proposed in the Amrita Nada Upanishad. Pranava Upasana it is. Worship of the Pranava. And it says that Omkara Rathamaruhya mounting on the chariot of Om. And who is the charioteer of this Om? Vishnu. And where the chariot will go? Brahmaloka. And what happens there? Worship of the Rudra. And how to drive this chariot? And the chariot is to be driven in one single direction. And the most important thing of the Upanishad is Sthitatva Rathamati Sthanam Radhamutsrujya Gacchati. Once you reach the destination, once you attain the state, once the place of destination has been reached, the Ratha, the vehicle, has to be given up. We should not continue to be inside the vehicle. What a wonderful suggestion it is. Even though the Omkara Upasana, Omkara chanting, Omkara meditation is taken up, but once the goal, the destiny, the target, the expected experience has attained, the Ratha should be given up. Not to be continued to hold on. And this is an important suggestion. Otherwise, many times we keep on holding on to the practices. Even after getting experiences, we continue to hold on to the practice. Sometimes maybe out of the fear. But beautiful suggestion, beautiful imagery was given by Amrita Naandopanishad that you take a vehicle, travel to your destination, and after reaching the destination, you give up the vehicle. You come out of the vehicle. Exactly in the same, the Omkara Upasana also. And how it will be done, how it should be done? Then the Upanishad gives a wonderful technique of the well-known method of pratyahara. It is Shabdadi Vishayan Pancha Manaschaivat Chanchalam. The chanchalata of the Panchendriyas have been stopped. The achanchalatvam of the Indriyas have attained. The wobbling, the wavering, the moving capacity, the wobbling nature of the Indriyas have been mastered. The Indriyas no more move, no more waver, no more wobble. The Indriyas have lost its capacity of movement. The Indriyas have lost its capacity of chanchalata. That is pratyaharam. Then the Upanishad suggests beautifully the Shadanga Yoga, the 6 methods, the 6 techniques. That is the Shadanga Yoga. The components of the Shadanga are the Pratyahara, Dhyana, Pranayama, Dharana, Tarka and Samadhi. Pratyahara statha Dhyanam, Pranayamotsaha, Dharana, Tarkaschaiva, Samadhischa, Shadango Yoga Uchyate. This is the Shadanga Yoga of the Amrita Nada Upanishad. Then it talks about what is pranayama, what are the result of the pranayama. And the result of the pranayama is to remove the impurities of the mind, impurities of the misdeeds of the Indriyas by holding the breath. What a wonderful it is. It is when the prana dharana is done, all the results of the activities of the mind. When the prana dharana is done, all the results of the activities of the mind have been erased. Means, karma phala of the mind, karma phala of the indriyas, karma phala of the body and the mind are lost, or given up, or removed by prana dharana. That is the fruit and benefit of the pranayama. And that is the importance of the practice. And the Upanishad beautifully describes that this destruction of the phala comes by the practice of ruchira, it is called. Ruchira. Ruchira is the kumbhaka. That is pranadharanam. The highest, ultimate aim of the pranayama. The kevala kumbhaka it is. Through experience of the kevala kumbhaka, practice of the kevala kumbhaka eliminates, erases, deletes physical, psychological, emotional, intellectual, physical, mental, bodily, and the mental activities. The results of that are eliminated. What a great benefit of the pranayama is presented in the Amrita Naandopanishad. Then the Upanishad talks about the threefold pranayama, the three types of pranayama. Trividha pranayama, it is calls it. Ruchiram, rechakam chaiva, vayorarg karshanam tatha. Pranayamas trayah prokta, recha puraka kumbhaka, it calls it. Rechakam, purakam, and kumbhaka are the three methods. Pranayama lakshanam, it talks about it. Then the Upanishad describes about the pranayama and gives a suggestion that while practicing pranayama, you chant mentally Gayatri mantram, savyahritim, sapranavam, Gayatrim, savyahritim, sapranavam, Gayatrim, sirasa saha. Along with the Gayatri, you practice pranayama. What a wonderful method. This is a common suggestion for all of us as sadhakas. Any particular mantra chanting in the mind while practicing pranayama, that is, while inhalations and exhalations, while doing slow, deep, relaxed, long, elongated inhalations and exhalations, engaging the mind deeply in a manasika japa of a particular mantra is very much helpful for the pranadharana. So like rechaka lakshanam. Similarly, puraka lakshanam is given. Then kumbhaka lakshanam is given. Though the lakshanas have been named differently, the ultimate is pranadharanam. While inhalation, while exhalation, while the kevala kumbhaka, the gap between the inhalation and the exhalation, while the process of slow inhalation and the slow exhalation is going on, the speed is so slow and so steady. The kevala kumbhaka is experienced because the mind is engaged in a very deep, subtle level in the Gayatri or any other particular mantra. And the Upanishad beautifully describes the Kumbhaka level. Andhavat pashya rupani shabdam bhadiravat shrunuhu kashthavat pashya vaideham prashantasyeti lakshanam. It beautifully describes prashantaha mind, prashanta mind, a very quiet mind, shanta mind, achanchala mana. What is it? It is like a blind man who cannot see. It is like a deaf man who cannot hear. And it is like a body of wood. And that is the state of the Kumbhaka Lakshanam. What a beautiful it is. Means the body cannot feel, the mind will not move, and no senses are working. But you are in a state of stable and a deep sense of prashantaha. Prashantasyeti lakshanam. Prashantaha iti lakshanam. The quality of prashantatvam is given. I am prashantaha. My mind is very quiet. What does it mean? It should suit these three qualities. What a beautiful it is given. Then the dharana lakshanam is given. The quality is description of dharana. Then the description of tarka is given. Tarka means arguments. Inference in the conformity with the scripture. That is called tarkam. Agamasyat virodhena vuhanam tarka uchyate. Agamasyat avirodhena. Avirodhanam means the arguments should not be against the scripture. Then it is called as tarka. If the arguments are against the shastram, then it is not the tarkam. So the understanding, arguments and the intellectual capabilities should be in conformity with the shastraha. Then samadhi lakshanam describes about the dimensions of samadhi. Then the Upanishad also beautifully describes the constant practice of yoga. It talks about the various dimensions of yoga. And it talks about the Sapta Dwarani, it calls. While talking about the dharana, the Upanishad beautifully gives the duration of dharana. When can we say, I am in a state of dharana? When can we say? The Upanishad says it, 8 or 7 matras. Matra is a unit of time. If 7 or 8 matras, the mind is not wavering, we can say it is in the dharana state. And that dharana sthiti can be achieved by beautifully pashyanti, para, vaikhari, upanshu, chanting of the japa. So dharana can be attained by chanting or by the experience of the Om in its 4 stages. Vaikhari is the sound we can hear. Upanshu, not heard but only lip movements. Pashyanti, not even the lips are moving, no sound, but within the mind you are chanting. That is Pashyanti. Para, not even chanting in the mind, but only just awareness of the Omkara. These are the 4 levels of practice of the dharana. Then Amrita Nada Upanishad talks about the Sapta Swaprapti Dwarani, the 7 doors. It talks about it. And one of the door is, one should be fearless, abhayatvam. Then abhyasam, abhayatvam and abhyasam, fearlessness and practice. Yoga chintyam, constantly meditating, involving in the yoga sthitihi. Then chintana prakaraha, how many types of thinkings are there? Beautifully the Upanishad talks about the varieties of thinking. Get thoughts involved outside, thoughts involved on ourselves, thoughts involved in our own mind's particular points and objects, and finally the thoughts engaged in meditation. This is all called Chintana Prakaraha, it is called. Then Shwasa Pramanam. The Upanishad talks about the limitations of breath. It is surprising and very informative to see that the breaths as reckoned for a day and night are from 80 and 113,000 to 1 lakh. That means how many times we breathe per day, it varies from 13,000 to 1 lakh. Ashitischa shatam chaiva sahasrani trayodashaha lakshaschaikoni nishwasaha ahoratra pramanataha. 80,000, 100,000, 13,000. That's how the means when somebody is breathing slow, faster, fastest, like that. So in a day, our breathing keeps on changing. This is the Shwasa Pramanam. The Upanishad talks about this. Amrita Naandopanishad. Pranadinam sthanani. The seats of prana. It talks about the seats of prana. Where are all the prana stays? The points of prana. And where the prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana stays. What are the seats? What are the regions of these pancha pranas? Their activities, their controlling capacity. These pancha pranas have been talked in the Amrita Naandopanishad. And finally, the Upanishad concludes with the Paramaphalam, the final result of the practice of this yoga. The chanting of pranava, the chanting of pranayama, Gayatri mantra during pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, then the kumbhakas, then the contemplation on the panchaprana activities, then describing the length of the breathing, the length of the time of dharana, and finally the Upanishad gives the importance of the practice of the yoga abhyasa, talking about the nada. That is how it is mentioned as the Amrita Nada Upanishad. By nada, by the Om, by the mantra, how to chant mantras, the length of the mantra, how to align the chanting of mantra with the breathing, aligning breathing with the mantra, and Puraka, Rechaka, Kumbhaka. And this is then finally you attain the state of the Amrita. So Amrita Nada Upanishad it is. And finally, the Amrita Naandopanishad is one of the most powerful Upanishad which hands over a detailed practice, methodology and a technique to all of us. So let us practice this method, aligning mantra japa with inhalation, exhalation and holding of the breath. Puraka, Rechaka, Kumbhaka. Of course, Kumbhaka is the Kevala Kumbhaka. An experience by slowing down the breathing process. So this is the Amrita Naandopanishad, and let us see the other Upanishad also in continuation. Amrita Bindu Upanishad. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.